good evening, fam. Hey, it's your brother G Hightower coming in on this wonderful Sunday night. And there is a whole lot going on in the country. But tonight, family, I wanted to come in and just really offer perhaps a little uh, kind of get our focus off of this. The really, really heavy things we've had. Um, Viral computer malfunctions. People have been stuck in airports. My heart goes out to those who've been stuck in airports, haven't been able to get home. We've lost loved ones over the weekend, over the last several days, actually. So my prayers going out to all the families who have lost loved ones, who had homegoing services and such. And then today, the biggest news in the entire world, President Joe Biden has agreed to step aside as our president of these United States, that he will not run for re-election. And he is already basically willing to pass the mantle on to our current vice president, Mrs. Kamala Harris. And so salute to her. She is representing from the great state of California, my home state. She is the former Attorney General of California. And the vice president and I actually used to be Facebook friends before she was running for Attorney General. That was all the way back like in 2008, 2009, I think, 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. We used to be Facebook friends. So that's pretty cool. But she's a wonderful, incredible woman. There's a lot of people that would have negative things to say about her, but there's not one person ever in history, including the Lord Jesus himself, who lived an absolute perfect sinless life. There's nobody ever in history that's been great, where people have not thrown great accusations against them and so on and so forth. There's a beautiful proverb that says, not a biblical proverb, but I believe it's an African proverb that says, people only throw rocks at giants. So there's that. But good evening, family. It's a Sunday night, and I wanted to come on and do a late night love chat with everyone tonight, family. Tonight is a late night love chat Q&A. So whatever you would like to ask me, I want you to feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. We're going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about sex. Yes, we're talking about sex. Oh my God. I know everybody gets all up in arms and having clutch your pearls moment whenever we talk about sex. But that's one of the problems that exists within the body of Christ and the church in general, is because we are very squeamish when it comes to sex. And sex is a beautiful thing, especially when we're talking about sex in the marital relationship, right? God designed it. And contrary to popular opinion among religious eggheads, sex between a husband and a wife is not, I repeat, sex between husband and wife is not just for procreation. Hello, it is for our enjoyment, especially when it's done properly. I am G Hightower, the Entanglement Coach, and I approve of this message. Yeah. Listen, go ahead and share. Drop a few names in the comment section. Yes, absolutely. Come on. Bishop Joyce, it is a spiritual experience. You know why? Because sex between the husband and the wife, and actually between any two human beings, a man and a woman, sex is not just for physical gratification. Sex between the husband and wife, and I specifically want to lock it inside of this beautiful covenant relationship called marriage. It is, but sex between two individuals, period, family. It is not physical only. It is two spirits coming together. All right. And this is why many people find themselves in toxic relationships they can't get free from, because when you're involved in illegal intimacy, shameless plug for my book, when you're involved in illegal intimacy, that's a sexually intimate relationship outside of the covenant of marriage. Well, now you have these two souls colliding, these two spirits connecting, coming into oneness. And essentially, family, listen, and I talk about this more deeply in my book, Dr. B, that it's actually a marriage a marriage covenant that's been established without the commitment of marriage. Oh my God. Have you ever been in a relationship? I don't know if this might be a little uncomfortable for people to talk about on a Sunday night, but this is what I do. So I got to talk about it. Have you ever been in a relationship where it was intimate and you found yourself extremely difficult to break free from this relationship, even though you knew that it wasn't good for you? But because it felt good to you, you stayed much longer than you should have stayed. Have you ever been there? I have. I'm guilty. Yes. Blessings on you. So, in the relationship between a man and a woman, when we come together, it's two spirits coming together in oneness because we're spirit beings by God's design. We're spirit beings. We possess a soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotions, and we are housed inside of a body. By God's design, we are tripartite beings: spirit, soul, and body. It's not three different people. There's three different facets of our makeup and how God designed us. Okay. So I want to go ahead and share this tonight. Let's go ahead and again, this is a late night love chat Q&A with your brother G Hightower, the Entanglement Coach. And I am glad to be here tonight, family. Going to be here for a little while. And again, answer whatever questions I can to the best of my ability. So let's go ahead and get it started. What's happening? Drop in your questions in the chat. I think Miss Renee has a question already. Boom, here we go. First question of tonight. Miss Renee asked, should a woman offer to pay for dinner and should the man accept? Oh, great question. Wow, this is wonderful. Well, this allows me to shout out my dear friend, Akila C. Blessings to you, Akila. I don't know if you're watching, but Akila just posted a question on her page the other day that as a woman, and she didn't really make it about herself, but she was asking very generally. But knowing the awesome, confident woman that she is, I'm sure she was applying herself as well. And my friend Akila C, who is a brilliant and absolutely beautiful woman, lovely, godly woman, Akila actually asked the men, um, where would you suggest to go if a woman called you up and asked you out on a date? So, Miss Renee, I will answer that question in two ways. Number one, there are awesome, confident women that, without compunction, will ask a man out on a date because it's if for women nowadays, especially women who are extremely busy, they have really tight schedules and they don't have time to just sit around and wait on a man. She will be assertive and ask a man out on a date, especially if this man is in her particular sphere of influence, right? So instead of waiting and waiting and waiting on somebody to ask you out, she'll just pick up the phone. And I've been asked out quite a few times as well. A woman will just pick up the phone and says, "Hey, G, would you like to meet for dinner?" Boom. Saturday night. Boom. Friday night. Would you like to go out? I think it's wonderful. So to your question, Miss Renee, should a woman offer to pay for dinner and should the man accept? Well, it depends on the level of friendship, Miss Renee. If the relationship is new, most of us men, listen, most of us men, we will accept the date, but we're not going to allow you to pay for the date. When I moved here to Atlanta, I had about three very, very close friends, female friends of mine, very close friends of mine. And as a way of like having a kind of like in lieu of a goodbye party, which nobody gave me a goodbye party when I moved here to Atlanta. I think people didn't think that I was going to actually stay. Now I've been here 5 years. People say, "Yeah, G is an LA guy. He'll be back." But I actually came here and I've been here 5 years now. But I had three different lady friends, Renee, that asked me out for dinner. Um, I paid for all three of those dinners. Not one of them says, "No, G, I'm gonna let you pay. I'm taking you out, my friend, because we're friends, and this is my last time gonna you're getting ready to go all the way to Atlanta, and I don't know when we'll see each other again. So even though I ask you out for a date, I'm gonna pay for the date, da 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 da." I paid for all three of those dates. And they weren't dates romantically, just three good lady friends of mine were actually platonic friends. And I paid for all three of those dinners. So most of us men, Renee, are not going to allow the woman to pay. Um, But again, it depends on what level of relationship you have. And then Renee, it really depends on, how assertive you want to be. I think generally speaking, now everything is flexible, everything is fluid. Okay. Generally speaking, unless the man is challenged financially, I believe that a woman should pay for a date in three situations. Number one, it's his birthday. Number two, a new business or a new job that she wants to celebrate with him. And then thirdly, um, any special time where she just feels good about something she's accomplished. And she says, I want you to celebrate with me and I'm paying, because consistently whenever this couple or these two friends have gone out, he always pays. And she says, nope, not this time. I'm going to do it. I'm going to bless you because you always pay. Now there are some men who believe that a woman should never pay. I'm not of that school. I believe that a man should pay like 95% of the time. But if my woman wants to celebrate my birthday and she says, gee, I'm treating you to dinner, that's a blessing for her. So, but other than that, 95% of the time, the man should pay for the date. So there you go. I know some men would even disagree with me. Some men would be like, oh no, a man should pay 100% of the time. The woman is getting blessed by blessing you to take you out to dinner for your birthday. The woman is getting blessed, second occasion, the woman is getting blessed by taking you out to dinner because you got a new job, or you got a promotion on your job, or you got a great new business, or something awesome, some awesome special event has happened in your life. All right. So those are situations where you don't take that woman's blessing away. She's going to get blessed for blessing you. And somehow we have become, some men are just groomed a certain way, which I admire, groomed a certain way where they believe that a woman should never have any level of financial responsibility. I believe the man should always have the lion's share of responsibility. When it comes to paying bills, when it comes to the marriage relationship, the man should take care of all of the fundamental needs of that household, period. All right. No 50-50, no 70-40, 70-30, 60-40, none of that. Man should pay 100% of all the fundamental bills for the family, for the household. Okay. Based on his financial ability, of course. Right. Now, that said, there are situations where it's okay for a woman to pay. And those are my thoughts. Again, this is G. Hightower, the Entanglement Coach, and I approve of this message. All right. Miss Loretta said, I was raised to offer the tip if the man paid for dinner. Thank you for that, Miss Loretta. Now, Loretta, if you were and I were out on a date, I wouldn't even let you pay for the tip. Okay. You wouldn't pay for anything. But most of us men, we would greatly appreciate the offer. But I wouldn't let you pay for the tip. I wouldn't let you pay for dessert. I wouldn't let you pay for the valet. None of that. You're not paying for anything if you're out on a date with me. And that's, again, true for most of us men. All right. Listen, you all do me a favor. Drop 3 names in the comment section. Thank you so much for sharing. You all, I see some of you sharing. Thank you, Joyce. I want you to drop 3 names in the comment section, family. What that does, it essentially tags people and brings people into the broadcast. All right. If you do that for me, family, that'll help us to really get some more people into the broadcast. All right, y'all, let's go. Let's share, because I'm here and I'm gonna give you some of my time tonight. All right. Let's see what else is happening. Who else has a question? No more questions. You all can drop whatever questions you would like in the chat. And again, I will do my best to answer. All right. Let's see. Any more questions? Boom, 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 boom. All right. All right. You guys are sharing good stuff, good stuff. So let's talk about another issue. So men are called to do 4 things for a woman primarily. All right. I call these Dr. G's 4 P's. Dr. G's 4 P's. Number 1, man is called and literally ordained by God in a relationship, in a marriage, to be provider. All right. Number 2, protector. Number 3, excuse me, I got those wrong. Number 1, to cover her in prayer. The man's responsibility in a relationship, and especially the marriage relationship, but a covenant relationship, period, All right. Even if y'all are just together as a couple and you are exclusive to each other, this is not dating. This is the courtship. All right. Because dating is the first phase of a relationship, and dating is merely for discovery. Dating is to see if we have enough compatibility factors that we say we're a pretty good fit for each other. So beyond physical attraction, we're also feeling like we're a good fit for each other. And so then we move from the dating relationship, the discovery zone, we move into the courtship, which is about exclusivity. Once we're courting and we become exclusive, now we're prayerfully moving this relationship toward marriage. All right. If you are a marriage focused man, if you are a marriage focused woman, we're prayerfully moving the exclusive courtship toward marriage. All right. Taking our time, no rush, but that is the ultimate goal. Right now, once you get to that courtship level, the courtship phase of the relationship, family, this is the place where we should be having real intentional conversations, finances, physical health, sex, all of these kind of things we should be having in that courtship phase of the relationship. All right. You got to find out a lot of stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, please, I implore you, do not, I repeat, do not be afraid to ask any questions. Ask all questions that you feel you need to ask. All right. Now, ladies, y'all ask a lot of questions. So I want to encourage you in the asking of the question, just make sure it's a conversational question rather than feeling like he's being interrogated. Okay. Because when you feel like men are shutting down, why won't he open up to me? Because you're probably making him feel like he's at the fifth precinct under investigation for a murder. The way you ask a question, you know the old adage, it's not what you say, but it's how you say a thing, right? And so the same thing in conversation. If you want to ask a question, listen, you can ask anything, but how you ask that question will allow you to get the information. All right. Very important. You don't want to be like, so where were you on the fifth? So what about this? What about that? Who have you been with? How many people have you slept with? And don't you lie to me. Don't you lie to me, because I got the gift of discernment. I got the gift of discernment. So I got a prophetic eye. Don't you lie to me, because I know, because the Lord, the Holy Ghost told me when I was in a dream, and he's going to shut down. And I probably would too. All right. So let's get into it. Let's see. Miss Kim has a question. Boom. How would you handle a situation if we both are homeowners, we get married? Which one of us would keep our home or move in which house? Ooh, great question, Kim. Great question. So one of my best friends from childhood, we've been boys, we've been best friends since we were 13. This was actually a situation that he encountered. Him and his wife were both homeowners. He had a really nice house. She had a bigger, nicer house. But how my boy was raised, because he was raised, his parents were they were rich. His parents were rich. Um, and so how he was raised was like never, ever, ever, never, ever, 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 ever move into a woman's house, right? Now he sold his house. I won't tell you how much he got off of it, but he made some really good money off the sale of his house. So his thing was, especially since this was not his first marriage, his thing was like, hey, let's both sell our houses. Now watch this. Kim, you may have the option or may decide you want to take the option of maintaining your house. All right. Most of us men, especially men who have been married before and men who have gained wisdom over the years in relationships, we don't ever want to come to a situation where, for whatever reason, our wife gets angry at us and says, get out my house. Because most of us men are never going to tell the woman, get out my house, unless she violates by way of physical abuse, constant verbal abuse, or that you committed an act of infidelity. Yeah, hey, if you cheat, you got to hit the street. Sorry, not sorry. Now, I'm not going to put you out in the middle of the night, respectfully, but you're not going to sleep in this bedroom. And you gotta go. If you cheat, you hit the street, right? But now most of us men are never going to put a woman out in put her out of a house, and just she has nowhere to go. Most of us men would never do that, regardless of the circumstance. Again, outside of abuse or infidelity. Um, Women will get mad and tell a brother to get out over a heated argument. A heated argument, a disagreement. Get out of my house, and then it's done. So now the brother got to go sleep in his car if he don't have a place where he can go, or a family member or a friend close by. Brother got to go sleep in his car or go get him a hotel room, hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. So in those situations, Miss Kim Denise, most men would prefer that if you're going to maintain ownership of your house, if you want to make that an income property, okay, you want to make it an Airbnb or you want to make it a rental property, you can do that. But most men are going to be of the mindset, well, hey, let's go ahead and buy another house together. If we're both homeowners, we can take equity out of our house and pull that money together and then boom, get a new house together, right? That way we both have equal ownership. And now we have something that we have both invested in together, and we're now building wealth for the future for both of us. So that would be the optimal situation. But every couple is different. So you'll have to figure that out with the man that you would be with at that time. Because every couple is different. Every situation is going to be different. All right. Let's go. Let's see. Urban Johnny's got a question. How should leaders address and acknowledge their own abusive behaviors, especially when facing discipline, without misusing spiritual or organizational rhetoric to deflect accountability? Great question. Not really a relationship question, Urban Johnny, but I'll take it anyway. All right. But I'm here to respond to relationship questions. But I'm gonna take your question respectfully, brother, because this is a very good question, a necessary question. All right. So how should leaders address and acknowledge their own abusive behaviors? Most leaders are going to shirk responsibility. Um, and when I say shirk responsibility, because it depends on how that situation comes out and it depends on how it's fleshed out. I have seen both. I have seen men who stand up. I've seen women who are stand up men, stand up women say, you know what? Yeah, I was wrong on that, and take accountability and face the firing squad, you know, metaphorically speaking. um, And then, of course, I've seen men and women, both in men and women in leadership, shirk responsibility and say, hey, you know what? They'll figure out how to circumvent that. And if we're honest, Urban Johnny, if we're honest, many people are quick to throw stones at men and women who are in leadership. And I find the people who are the most critical and the people who have the most harsh judgment of people in leadership are people who have never been in leadership themselves. Because when you've been in leadership, you have compassion for leaders. That we're all, no matter who we are, we're all subject to fail. We're all subject to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall on your face at some point. Um, and at some point, you have to be in a place where there is a support group, there is a board, there is some type of systematic piece in place that allows for that person to come forth and be accountable, but also have an opportunity to be restored. The Bible says in Galatians chapter 6, verse 1, brethren, if a man or woman be overtaken in a fault, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted and you fall. So restoration is a part of the love of Christ and is how we bring a brother or a sister back into the fold, even though they fell. It's how we have a system put in place to make sure that they can stand up and be accountable, but that we don't throw them away and discard them, even though they may have made a tremendous error in judgment, or they just were in sin, consciously, willfully in sin. But the ultimate goal, again, is not to kick them to the curb, but to bring them into a place of restoration. All right. Great question, sir. Great question. I hope I answered that uh, satisfactory in a satisfactory way. Let's see. Um, anyone else? Anyone else? You're welcome, Urban Johnny. You're welcome. Okay, let's see. Boom. Bishop Joyce, should you share any past pain or hurt to a potential partner that may have an impact in their relationship? Hmm. Should you share any past pain or hurt to a potential partner that may have an impact in their relationship? Are you asking Bishop Joyce? You got two questions. Okay, Lady Felicia, come on, bring it. Um, are you asking Bishop Joyce, should you share any past pain about yourself to a potential partner that may have an impact in the relationship? I'm assuming that's the question. First and foremost, yes, you have to share past pain. You don't have to share all of it at once. You definitely don't want to share it when the relationship is brand new. But as the relationship is growing and developing, you want to definitely, you have to. All right. This is what I call, ladies and gentlemen, emotional nakedness. We have to be emotionally naked with each other. And brothers, let me say this to you, Irvin, Johnny, my brothers that are in the broadcast right now. Let me say this to you because I know women are asking us to be vulnerable, right? And in every relationship, there's a level of vulnerability that has to happen if we're going to come into oneness, right? I mean, even when the woman becomes your wife, I mean, you're going to be vulnerable during the act of sex. You're going to be vulnerable when you're sleeping, right? So there's a level of vulnerability uh, that has to happen, right? If the relationship is going to be healthy. I do want to kind of replace that word vulnerable with, again, emotional nakedness. Because, ladies, it's almost oxymoronic to ask us and to expect us to perform in our God ordained position as protector. And at the same time, you're saying, be vulnerable with me. Well, by definition, the word vulnerable means that I have to be open and susceptible to attack. So, how can I be your covering? How can I be your protector? And at the same time, you're asking me to be vulnerable. So, there is a level of vulnerability in the relationship, but you can't just ask that man to just completely make himself open and susceptible to attack. All right. However, I want to just deal with the level of uh, emotional availability. All right, and emotional maturity. Ladies, oftentimes what you're asking men to do, you're asking men to be emotional. Well, men lack emotional intelligence. Men don't lack emotional intelligence. All right, to say that he lacks emotional intelligence means that he lacks intelligence. And if he lacks intelligence, then the question is, why are you with him? If you know that the brother lacks intelligence, what does that say about your intellectual choice? So it's not a lack of emotional intelligence, it's about emotional availability. Is he willing to be emotionally available to you? And that's where I coined this term, emotional nakedness. Um, okay, I got you, Lady Felicia. Um, so there is a need for emotional nakedness in a relationship, right? And so, gentlemen, um, if you are an active listener and you remain present when your woman is sharing, when she knows that you can be a good caretaker for her heart, you'll build that bond of trust and you'll have a woman who'll be committed to you and absolutely devoted to you in a relationship. Ladies, the same thing is true for us as men. Um, Ladies, it's interesting to note that we as men, we need the same thing you do. We express it differently and we may even receive it differently. But ladies, we need the same exact thing that you need. You need to be heard and understood. And so do we as men. We need to be heard and understood. And oftentimes the hearing part will help us solve a lot of problems because a lot of times we just need to talk stuff out. We don't need, listen, I know you're a dynamic, anointed biblical teacher and a great orator of God's word and a great teacher who can, great expository teacher, and you can exegete and eisegete and all of those wonderful things. God bless you. But I need you to quote 10 scriptures to me. I just want you to hear my heart. I may gain the answer just by talking it out. And then I'm humble enough, if I'm talking it out, that I'll ask you, babe, what do you think? Okay. Oftentimes, ladies, your men just need a place to talk without interruption. Somebody write this down in the chat. Resist the temptation to interrupt him. When the man finally does open up and start talking, don't you start talking. Don't ask questions. Shh. Shh. Just let him talk. You may get the answer to the question that you're getting ready to ask if you just listen. It's hard for men to open up. And I know, ladies, a lot of you get frustrated with that because a lot of us men have not learned to, we haven't learned how to be emotionally available. Many of us men, we lack emotional maturity, not emotional intelligence, which is the ability to express yourself, but emotional maturity where we have a good level, we have a good degree of temperance regarding our emotions. But emotional availability is being open. Emotional maturity is knowing how and when to be open with the woman that we love. When that man opens up and starts talking, resist the temptation to interrupt him. Just let the brother talk. Well, he takes so long to get to the point. Okay, boo. And you take forever and 2 days to tell a story. But we're sitting there listening to every part of the story, including the part of the story where the lady walked across the street and had a red dress on and she had glasses, and you've been wanting to get them glasses from the Chanel store. And we got to listen to every detail of your stories. So be patient with the man, the same way you need him to be patient with you, and just listen. Thank you, Erica. All right, let's go. I saw a couple of other questions too. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get these. Let's get these. Let's get these in. Boom. Here we go. Lady Felicia said, is it okay for a woman to fly out to a man? And is she paying for it? Why not if no? All right. Great question. Great tea, too. Praise God. All right. First of all, yes, it is okay for a woman to fly out to a man. He might have a work situation. He may have business that he cannot break away from. But ladies, if you do fly out to that man, the man should be paying for you to come. All right. If you do fly out to meet him, he should be paying for your flight for you to come. Now, the exception to that rule is if you're already going to be there on business and your job is sending you. Well, hamburger, you are already flying there, the job is paying for you. So I shouldn't have to, you know, buy you a ticket if your job is already flying you. Shouldn't have to put you up in a hotel. If your job was already putting you up in a hotel. So that's one of the exceptions. If it's a business thing, if it's a work thing, if it's a family thing where you were already flying out for the family reunion and the family reunion happens to be in his city or a nearby city, or hamburger, if you are already flying out there, those are the exceptions. But if you're flying out to meet him and it's for us to spend time together, primarily, that's the primary objective, then the man should take care of the flight. The man should take care of the hotel, right? Depending on your relationship, the depth of your relationship, how long you've known him, and as a woman, do you feel safe? Do you feel safe enough to be alone with this gentleman? Have you vetted his character? Have you made sure that you have references? Have you made sure there's someone else in the city that you know that God forbid, but if something goes wrong, is there somebody in the city or somebody nearby that you can call if you get in a situation? As a woman, ladies, you've got to make sure that those T's are crossed and those I's are dotted. Okay. I do that for myself, and I'm a man, and I ain't scared of no woman. period. But as a man, anything can go down. Anything can go down. Okay. We live in a dangerous world today. The world is not what it was 20 years ago. And if you can fathom that just 20 years ago, we were still in the 2000s. It was only 2004, 20 years ago. But even back in 2004, the world wasn't like it is now. And let's take it back one more decade to 1994. Oh my God, the world was different then. I know places around the country that people were still going to bed at night with their doors unlocked. Very few places in America you can do that today. I don't care where you live. It ain't safe, right? Neighborhood I used to live in, I went to sleep one night. I fell asleep. My convertible top, the convertible top was done. Nothing happened to my car. Sitting in my driveway, it was perfect. Woke up the next morning, my neighbors, hey, Gerald, hey, did you know your top was down all night? I'm looking at the car, dew all inside my seats and all on my dashboard. Yeah, thanks, Bob. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate you telling me that my car was left up. Yeah, thank you. My God, where did that guy come from? But we live in a different world today. World is different. All right, let's go. Hey, Miss Letitia, good to see you, dear. Let's see. Hey, Jazz, I see you. Jewel, I see you. What's up, Jay? I see you, Pastor Jay. Um, Father said, oh my God, Coach G, that's going to be too hard for me. Oh my God. Resist the temptation to interrupt him. What if I got a question? What if I got to say something? I want to say something. I want to say something. Fonda, if your goal is to hear your man's heart, if your goal is to create a space where he feels very much at peace to open up and share his heart with you, most men have a very difficult time with doing that. So, Fonda, the question is your question so important that you want to interrupt his process of opening up to you? Ladies, that's where you got to think. You got to be thinking on a different wave. Listen, ladies, we're not y'all. One of the problems in communications between men and women is oftentimes a lot of y'all just expect to be conversing with your man in the same way you communicate with women. We don't communicate like that. Okay? When y'all tell a story, y'all share every detail about the story. We want to get to it. You know what I mean? It's like Dragnet, Sergeant Friday. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts. We ain't in all them details y'all be talking about. All right. And so, ladies, you kind of have to shift the flow of conversation when you're conversing with your man. And if that man is talking to you, boom. Whereas you talk to your girlfriend, you'd be like, oh, girl, what happened? Okay. And then she's telling the story. Okay, no, wait. Let me ask you this. See, y'all talk like that. We don't. We want you to shut to the up. Oh my God, Pastor G, I can't believe you said that. We want you to shut to the up and just let us talk. I know that sounds kind of harsh. Don't mean to be harsh. All right, let's go. I saw a couple of other questions. Boom, 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 boom. All right, here we go. Brother Urban Johnny says, why do women usually date men more successful than themselves, while men often date women with lower status jobs without issue? Great question. Oh my God, I love this question. All right, so of course, women are going to date men who are at equal or higher level financially because she wants to date a man and prayerfully marry a man who can provide financial security for us, for herself. Women live in the space of security. One of the ways that that woman allows herself to fall in love with that man, or she makes a conscious decision to love that man, is because she feels secure when she's with him. Remember what I said, Brother Johnny, that a man, we have We have 4 P's, Dr. G's 4 P's. A man has to be able to pray for her, provide for her, protect her, and pour into her, right? Pray, provide, protect, and pour. So all of those things are a factor for her, and that helps her, that gives her her gauge by how much she's willing to invest herself into the relationship, right? So women are usually looking at men who are at an equal, actually more than not, looking at a man who's at a higher level than where she is financially. Okay. Um, Unless you're Oprah or you are a 8, 9 figure earner, uh, usually women are looking for men who are making more, all right, to provide that security. Um, Men, we don't have those kind of issues, Brother Urban Johnny. We don't have those kind of issues. When we look at a woman that we want to build a life with, money is not a factor. It's about her inward qualities that she brings. This is what we're looking for. Does she bring kindness? Does she bring peace? Does she bring a high level of a business acumen where she can help me organize, bring greater structure and organization? Uh, is she a lover of people? Because I'm called to build people. The woman who's my wife can't be a person who can't stand people, and I'm called to build people. We're one. So she has to be one with me in the vision that God has called me to, right? So we're looking more at those factors. We don't care how much money she makes. I don't care if she works at Macy's. I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter because I'm going to make so much cheddar in a minute. She ain't going to have to go out that door to a job anyway. All right, baby, come on over here. Bring your degree, bring your skill set, bring your experiences, bring it over here. And we're going to put you right here and we're going to figure out something that you love to do where it can literally launch you into your purpose, which is going to generate revenue for you. And then it's going to build a legacy, help build a legacy for us, right? I'm also going to be using her within the vision that God has given me, right? So we don't care about that stuff. Men, real brothers who are looking to build a future with a woman, and we don't care how much cheddar she got. Are you sweet? Are you intelligent? Are you a woman who carries a high level of class and grace? And you're able to procure favor with kings, right? Those are the qualities I'm looking for. And then, of course, got to be sexy. That's a given. Yes, my God. I want you to be sanctified, but you got to be sexy too, baby. Yes, God bless you. Once again, this is G. Hightower, the Entanglement Coach, and I approve of this message. Great question, Brother Johnny. All right, Renee's question. Can you talk about the difference between sex and making love and which one is more rewarding? I love this question. Yes, I love this question. So, listen. Oh, Lord, help me keep it PG on a Sunday night because, a lot of the saints are in here. Y'all have to come back on Friday if y'all want us to get deep, deep. But I'll get a little deep right here. So, sex and making love, it's really between the husband and the wife to figure that out. Um, when a husband and wife come together, they're in a covenant relationship, which is all founded on the love of God, right? So, anytime you come together sexually, that's making love. How you go about that, the rate, the speed, the level of intensity is really between the husband and the wife, what you're communicating, what your need is, right? So in terms of which one is more rewarding, it depends on how we're setting this up. Do we only have 10, 15 minutes, right? Do we only got 10 to 15 minutes? Well, we're probably just going to get it in. That's just sex. And that can be extremely rewarding based on what our physical and emotional need is, right? You ain't got no hour, 2 hours to do, whole hour of foreplay and, oh, baby, come on, put on Barry White, put on Secret Garden and all this here. right on, baby. Yeah, if you think I'm feeling good to you. I mean, we ain't got time for all that. You ain't got time for Luther putting Luther on. You ain't got time to do all of that, right? You got to get to work, right? You got an appointment. We got to go get this munty, hunty, right? So that can be extremely rewarding because we just need to bond. We just need to connect, especially if you spent a few days or maybe a week or so apart. It's like we just want to come together. All right. After a fast, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, after that fast where you have spent time apart, come together. Right. That could be literally or figuratively. Yeah. You take it how you like. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one. All right. Hey, Miss Angela. Somebody said a whole 2 hours. Y'all be just talking mess, talking about a whole 2 hours. Y'all be talking about 2 hours. Y'all can't last more than 20 minutes. Okay, can we take a time out? I need to hydrate because I ain't drank no water today. Can you get honey? Can you go get me a bottle of water? Because I'm dehydrated up in here and it's hot. Baby, we got the fan on. It's only 68 degrees in here. I know, but I'm having heat flashes and stuff and hot flashes and stuff. But ooh, this was good. But can we have a timeout? Oh my God in heaven. Let's go. All right. I'm sorry, Coach Sheila. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I know that sounds harsh. Shut to the up. That's just my little funny little Dr. G-ism. I don't like telling people to shut up. But that's just my little funny Dr. G-ism. Shut to the up. Yeah, shut to the up. Just let him talk. Let him talk without interruption. Not shut up, but just shh. Shut to the up. All right, let's go. What other questions do we have? What other questions do we have? Let's see. All right, Miss Erica, what do you think about background checks and when should you get them? Oh, this is a great question, Erica. So background checks are good. Okay. Um, if you are really taking the time to get to know someone and you really establish a good level of rapport, if you're asking the right questions, you can find out whatever you need to find out in conversation. Okay. For the most part. All right. Now, when should you get a background check? If we're getting ready to go spend time together, if this person is coming to your city, or if you're getting ready to go to their city, get on a plane, you want to probably do that if you feel any way at all, if you feel any way at all in terms of any sense of insecurity, maybe it's not a red flag, but it's a yellow flag, it's something that's questionable, and you feel like you might need to be a bit more cautious, then hey, so be it. But you do want to always feel free to ask whatever questions. Hey, have you ever committed a felony? Have you ever committed an act of violence? Have you ever had any kind of situation where it was, you know, any type of abuse or anything like that? Those are conversations that you want to ask. I find, again, and I come from a security background family. I worked 7 years for the Department of Defense. I've also served as both the manager, quality control manager for American Airlines and Continental Airlines. So I can find out anything. I have a lot of relationships with police departments as well as the government. So I can find out anything. I love talking to people. For example, I have one good friend of mine. She was arrested and she was charged with a felony. But it was a situation that wasn't her fault. It was a situation where she was attacked and boom, she had to get her weapon and fire it. She was thrown into jail. Now, watch this, Erica. Let's say without having a conversation with her, I just looked up her record. It's like, oh, she got a felony. She done busted on somebody before. Well, without conversation, I could rush to judgment. And this is true for all of us as human beings. I don't care how wonderful and kind you think you are. If you just happen to look at a person's record and see they got a felony or that they've been to jail a few times, you could rush to judgment and think they're a terrible person. When number one, that's something from their past. And hopefully it is not their recent past. Praise the Lord. right? And number two, it is something that's a part of their past that there were legal ramifications, legal consequences, but situation that they were a part of, but maybe it wasn't something that was their fault. I have several friends who have a felony on their record, grand theft auto. If you met these guys, because I went to elementary school, junior high school with one of them, elementary, junior high, and high school. He ain't that dude. He would never steal anything. The dude got in a car that his cousin stole, and he didn't know that his cousin stole the car. Okay? LAPD caught them. Everybody in the car went to jail for grand theft auto. He was on a joyride thinking he was with his cousin who had a car from wherever. He didn't know the car was stolen. He was 16, 17. He was 17, getting ready to turn 18. And he was thrown in jail. And then when he turned 18, boom, they took him out of LA County Jail and sent him to prison because now he's an adult. And he has a felony on his record. But the kid was totally innocent. So there's all kind of situations that happen in life. And I do recommend that background checks are important. I also recommend that conversation is more important. And if we're having the right kind of conversations, then you can find out a lot about a person. And it's better to have those conversations open and honestly versus just running a person's background and then thinking that they're a piece of trash because he's got some trouble in his past or she's got some trouble in her past. All right. I hope that helps. Let's see. Miss Alicia says, what if you have a question because while he is talking, I'm processing information? Um, it really depends, Alicia. It really depends. Again, as I stated a few minutes ago, is your question absolutely necessary to the degree that you want to interrupt his flow, his process while he's sharing what he's sharing? And if he's really sharing something that's deep and emotional, is your question more important than him sharing his heart when he's coming from an emotional place? Is your question more important? Because I find this on a human level, and we're both guilty of this, men and women. Oftentimes we have the thought in our mind and we're really not actively listening. We are what my coach calls, we are pretending attending. We're pretending to be present, but we're really somewhere else. Pretending attending. We're pretending we're looking you right in the eye, taking in every word that you're saying, but really our thoughts are elsewhere. And then we have a question and we, boom, interject our question. And we haven't even really heard where this person is. When a person is really opening up and pouring out their heart and it's really emotional, I don't care what question I have. I'm going to make a mental note. And if it's something I think I might forget, I'm going to take the time to write it down. Yeah, I'm a professional consultant, coach, counselor. So that's what I do. But in a relationship situation, you might not have any notepad or something where you can write it down. But you have to figure out a way how to keep that question while out without interrupting the person who's talking. Now that's if it's something that's deep and emotional. If it's a conversation that's business or something like that, Miss Alicia, I would say that you have to really gauge it. You have to really gauge it. But I would say the most important thing that we give to each other as men and women is respect. That's the most important thing. And for us as men, respect is our number one love language. You can do a tremendous amount of things for us, but if we don't feel respected, we don't feel loved. And then you would say, but I do everything for you. I wash your clothes, I cook your food, I do this, plus I gave you some good loving last night. But if your words make me feel torn down as a man, or you're not hearing me, I don't feel respected. And if I don't feel respected, I don't feel loved. So you have to kind of gauge it, Miss Alicia, depending on the circumstance. Every situation is going to be different. I wouldn't give a hard, fast rule there, but you have to gauge it based on the level of sharing that that person is doing, that your man is doing at that time. All right. Um, let's see. Um, let's see. What in the world? You guys are cutting up in this comment section. Let's see. Coach Sheila says nowadays background checks are necessary, especially if it's getting serious. Yes, Coach Sheila, I absolutely agree. Again, the world is different nowadays. The world is vastly different. I'm not opposed to somebody getting a background check on me. I just ask that you give me the respect of having a conversation. If you have a question about it, like, because I'll tell you straight out. Yep, 18, went to jail carrying a concealed weapon. I was never a gangster. My daddy didn't play that, but it's a part of my testimony. I was carrying a gun. I live in South Central LA. I wasn't never a tough guy, but I hung around tough guys and I was in a lot of tough situations. So, and I was selling drugs. I sold drugs all through high school. And so, and maintained on the dean's list too. Don't get it twisted. Boy got a brain in his head, but stupid at the same time, right? Just because I wanted to be accepted. And so, boom, I got caught carrying a concealed weapon into a place where I had no business and went to jail. By the grace of God, the judge looked at my transcripts from high school and saw that number one, I had never been arrested before, never been in jail. And then when he saw the high school that I went to, which at that time was the number one academic school in LA, saw my transcript, saw that I'd been on the dean's list, been an honor student my whole life, and I'd never been in trouble. Instead of giving me a felony charge, which he could have, he gave me a misdemeanor charge. Instead of doing 3 years in prison for carrying a concealed weapon, he gave me 30 days. It's part of my testimony. So, absolutely, Coach Sheila, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Background checks are necessary in relationships, especially when we know it's getting serious. And before, ladies and gentlemen, before you get on a flight, getting flued out, or you're flying them out, uh, uh, before you do that, background checks are a good thing. All right. But always give your person the respect of a conversation. All right. Because you never know. Life happens and we never know why situations happen and why people find themselves in a situation, Oh my God, you got in trouble with the FBI. It's like, yeah, yeah. Because my big brother was selling drugs and the FBI came and bombed our house. I mean, all kind of situations happen. So you never know. So yeah. But I agree with you, Coach Sheila. Yes, absolutely. 1000%. All right, let's go. Let's keep it moving. This is really good. Really great questions. Really great questions. Ms. Kim said, what? Oh, I need to use you in the future. Yeah. Okay. uh, Kim, you have my calendar. You can. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Miss Denise asked a question. How do you tell a man that he is too close to back up a little bit without him getting offended? Denise, you shouldn't be having all that good old sexy perfume on, praise God. You're smelling all good and he all close to you. So, um, yeah. If a man is really all up on you like that, which he shouldn't be, but if a man is kind of violating your space, um, there's no, you just have to kind of gently, put your hand up, ladies, and say, "Oh, it's a little bit close for comfort," you know, you don't want to, use any martial arts tactics on him, elbow him in the neck, hey, back up, I'm gonna need 3 feet. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go there, right? But you can just gently say, oh, okay, a little bit close, a little bit close. Oh. And usually most men who are conscious, whether he's saved or not, most men will be like, oh, okay, my bad, my bad, my bad. Just a little bit close. I don't want to offend you, but just a little bit close. But if you're out on a date, Miss Denise, then there's communication that needs to be had beforehand. And if a man is violating your space by getting a little bit too close, then you got to kind of figure out some things as a woman. Okay, how can I get out of this situation? All right, without maybe triggering him to get in an angry, hostile type of way, right? So yeah, I would just be careful with that. And ladies, let me say this to you. I'm going to put on my big brother hat, and for some of you, I'm going to put on my daddy hat. Ladies, be careful of how you're dressing when you go out. Okay. Some of you ladies are absolutely gorgeous and very well endowed. Don't wear blouses with plunging necklines and you're going out with a man, especially when you don't know that man yet. Okay. There's plenty of time. If there's any promise to this relationship, there's plenty of time for you to be a little bit more, you know, sexy and whatever, whatever, whatever. But ladies, keep yourselves covered. Okay. You're a treasure. Treasures are covered. Okay. Don't wear stuff with a plunging neckline. Many men, I'll go as far as to say most men don't have a high level of sexual discipline. Most men don't. You wear stuff with plunging neckline or a skirt that's way all the way up to your thighs. A lot of men are going to have trouble with that. Okay. A lot of men are going to have, and I don't care if he has a collar. I don't care if he's got a title. I don't care if he's got his own church with 5,000 members. Most men are going to struggle in that area. Most men struggle with sexual discipline. Okay. So don't pour gasoline on a fire. Okay. You can dress beautiful and you can be sexy without being too revealing. All right. I know some of y'all, well, this is just the way I dress. You're going out with a man. And if you don't know that man yet and you don't have any type of understanding about his emotional and mental makeup, err on the side of caution. Okay. Don't just try to be you. I'm just doing me. Don't just do you because you ain't walking by yourself. You ain't out on a dinner by yourself. You're with someone else. All right. I'm careful like that with a woman on an emotional level. There's certain things that I'm not going to talk about, that I'm not going to say when I'm getting to know a woman because I don't know what her emotional makeup is. For example, one of my friends I went out with, and we have been friends for a long time, but we kind of decided that we were going to take the relationship in a different direction, right? I didn't know that she had been raped. So we're at the dinner table and we're talking about stuff, and I'm, just kind of talking about whatever. And I mentioned the word molestation. And all of a sudden, her whole countenance changed. And she looked down like this. And I said, "Did I say something wrong?" She didn't even look up. I said, "I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?" She didn't look up. When she looked up, a tear was coming down her eye. She said, it's not you, G. I was just triggered for a second. And then we sat for the next hour and she told me about a man who came to her house who was supposed to be just a brother and he raped her. So I'm careful with how I handle a woman emotionally with the things that I say, because something I say could be a trigger. And ladies, what I'm sharing with you, not only do men have those same type of triggers, but physically speaking, he could be triggered. Okay. So just be careful. All right. I'm speaking that to you as your brother. You're a grown woman. You can do what you want. I ain't trying to police your body. Oh my God. I'm tired of these men trying to police our bodies. I just want to be the man that God can use to speak a word of wisdom to you. So I don't have to be the man that you have to call because you're in trouble. All right. Let's go. um, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. No more questions? Y'all got a lot of comments up in here, which I like. I appreciate it. Boom, 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 boom. Felicia. Miss Felicia said, when it comes to sex in a marriage, how do you tell your spouse there are areas of opportunity for him without emasculating him? Hmm. I'm not sure I quite understand that question, Miss Alicia. Hmm. Not sure I understand that question. When it comes to sex in a marriage, how do you tell your spouse there are areas of opportunity for him without emasculating him? Hmm. If I understand your question correctly, Miss Alicia, um, I think the proper way to approach that is finding out, if you don't already know, finding out what he really loves to do versus what he's been educated to do or what has been his previous vocation, what his field. We've been talking over the last week, going on 2 weeks now, Alicia, we've been talking about harvest, right? We're on a fast right now, 21-day consecration, preparing for my harvest. Oftentimes, many of us, we're harvesting in the wrong field. So what is his field of interest? Is he in the right field? I know people who have master's degrees in a particular field of interest because their parents told them, this is what you're going to do. What? Dance? Dancing ain't going to make no money. No, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to be an attorney. You're going to be a whatever. And so they went and got a degree in there, but they was never passionate about that. And so, yeah, they made good money, but they didn't perform well. The job was laborious. It was drudgery for them to go in, right, to that job every day until they found their passion. So when you're dealing with a man, this is a great question, Miss Alicia, if I'm understanding it correctly. When you're dealing with a man, you want to find out what fuels him, what fuels his fire, right? And then help him find a way to get into that field, right? So how do you ask him or let him know that there's opportunities for him without emasculating him? Find out what his fire is. And then secondly, Alicia, ask, hey, how can I help you with that? How can I help? How can I support you with getting into that field? He may have a challenge with applying for something. We don't know. But asking the question and then showing up, Alicia, as support, showing up as help could be a great asset. And I don't think any man who really appreciates his woman is going to have a problem with his woman saying, hey, babe, how can I help support you in what you want to do? Right. I think that would be um, a great way to approach that. All right. Um, oh, is that what she's asking? Well, hamburger, no, man, y'all got me all over in a job and business. And so she was asking how to tell him to come get it. Alicia, really? You got me all the way over here. And listen, that's easy. You ain't got to say nothing to him. Dress inappropriately. Dress inappropriately in front of your man. And that will let him know that the opportunity is abounding. God bless you. All right. Coach Sheila's got a great question. Is it appropriate on a first date to allow him to kiss you? And yes, he did ask. So is it appropriate? It really depends on the vibe. It depends on several things, Coach Sheila. So number one, how much conversation have you had with the man? How much rapport have you built with that man before you went on the first date, right? So if you've been talking for months, right? Even if it's only 2 months, and you really feel good and you have vetted his character and you know some things about him, you know other references who can vouch for his character, that he's a man of good reputation. If you have those things and you feel really safe and at peace in your spirit, when you go out on that first date, it's really up to you as the woman. I would never say that it's inappropriate because you never know, especially if it's a long distance relationship, but you've been building it over time. If you feel good as a woman and he asks you for a kiss on the first date, it's up to you as a woman. Really, Coach Sheila, it's up to you as the woman. How good do you feel about that? Is this a relationship that you want to invest yourself into? So, yeah, if you feel good about it, go for it. If you feel good about it, go for it. Listen, in the church, we have put so many religious constraints on how a relationship should flow. And there's no biblical standard, nowhere from Genesis to Maps. In case you don't know where Maps is, that's after the book of Revelation. From Genesis to Maps, there's no biblical standard on when a man and a woman should have a first kiss or whatever, 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 whatever. That's up to that couple. All right. Two of the founding members of my church that I pastored in Southern California, they knew each other 3 weeks and went off to Vegas and got married. And today they've been married for 43 years. Got 3 beautiful kids, highly educated, and all 3 of their kids are doing extremely well in their careers. Okay. 43 years. And they knew each other 3 weeks. And they ran off and eloped to Vegas. So it's not up to us. It's up to that man and that woman. But ladies, understand that men control the access to the relationship. Ladies, you control the access to intimacy. So you have to gauge that, Coach Sheila. And ladies in general, you have to gauge that for yourself. How much are you willing to invest of yourself? And does the relationship have potential for a future if I'm going to have any level of intimacy, even if it's a kiss? So there you go, Coach Sheila. Let's see. Who else? Who else? Who else? Um, Fonda asked, how do you tell him what you like? All right, specificity. Specificity. Are we talking about sex? How do you tell him what you like? Let me know in the chat, Miss Fonda. Are we talking about sex? Specificity. How do you tell him what you like? Are we talking about sex? I will pause. I will wait. Waiting on you, Fonda. Waiting for you. Are we talking about sex? What are we talking about here? You're welcome, Coach Sheila. What are we talking about here? Oh, Lord. Here come Erica. Depends on what kind of kiss. Erica, you know what doggone time. Erica, how old are you? 16? You know what doggone type of kiss we talking about? Depends on what kind of kiss. Hamburger. Okay, Fonda said yes, sex, but you already answered it. Okay, you said wear something inappropriate. Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you, Coach Sheila. Listen, you ain't got to tell him. Just show him, hunty, hunty. Show him. Show him your ministry. Listen, make full proof of your ministry. Let it all hang out. Let it all hang out, boo. That's your husband. Hello? Shoot, y'all walking around in house coats and moo-moos. Honey, please. Unless my wife got a cold or a flu, house coats ain't allowed unless you just got out of the shower or something like that. House coats ain't allowed unless the heater went out or something. Yes, hunty, hunty. Come on, Pat. Come on, Bishop Joyce. Yes, this is the ministry. This right here, thank you, Bishop. This right here, this is making full proof of your ministry. Bam. Bucky naked. Once again, this is G. Hightower, and I highly approve of this message. Boom. All right. Let me see how much time I got. All right. I got 5 more minutes, y'all. I got 5 more minutes. And then I gotta go. Bum, bum. Any more questions? Nope. If not, then I will go ahead and shut it down. Miss Lisa. Miss Lisa says, is there any biblical restrictions for any sex exploration in the marriage bed? A lot of leaders won't talk openly about this. Well, Lisa, you got the right one, baby. Uh-huh. You got the right one right here tonight. Listen, first of all, the marriage bed is undefiled according to the word of God in the book of Hebrews. Marriage is honorable in all things in the marriage bed. The bed of the married husband and woman is undefiled. Lisa, there are only three things that the Bible is explicit about. And this is really, it covers both spiritual and ethical principles. All right. Number one, no extra people. Okay. I know we're living in a world today, this highly sexualized society that we live in today, where now even people in the church are entertaining polyamorous relationships. All right. Marriage covenant is between one man and one woman. This is the foundational principle of Real Love Nation, of which I am the CEO and its student. um, Real love is agape love. And an agape love, an unconditional love relationship between a husband and a wife, it's one man and one woman. All right. Now we live in a world today where people are doing all kind of stuff, but it's between one man and one woman, no extras. Okay. No menage a trois. All right. No, oh, bring a girl to join us. We'll bring a guy to join us to spice up our sex life. The devil is a lie and his cousin. Go to a sex therapy class. Okay. Go to a sex therapy retreat. Okay. And learn how to spice up your sex life. Half of us don't really know our bodies. So because we don't even really know ourselves well enough, we don't know how to give to each other well enough because we don't even know ourselves. I know women that have been married for years and have never had an orgasm. That's bananas to me. But it speaks a lot about a woman who hasn't really learned her body yet and learned how to really open up to be fully engaged with her husband. Okay. All right. But three things, Miss Lisa, three things that we must not do in the bedroom between husband and wife. Number one, no extra people. Number two, no animals. Yes, we got to talk about it. There is such a thing as bestiality. And there are people who, and listen, I have friends who are doctors, surgeons, and nurses, and they have told me some stories about people coming into the ER with some experiences from animals, stuff that had to get surgically removed, stuff that had to get surgically repaired. Oh my God, I will not go into the details. All right. No extra people, no animals. And then thirdly, nothing that's going to bring about pain that's unpleasant pain. All right. Stuff that's going to inflict pain and blood. That's a no-no. Okay. So chains and whips and all that kind of stuff and spikes. That's a no-no. All right. Now, some of y'all might like that. You grown, do you. Uh, but don't call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, Pastor G. Uh, yeah, my husband, he bleed. What did you do? Well, I tied him up and I took this whip and I choked him. And then I whipped him. Don't call me. Don't call me. Because I done told you. Oh my God in heaven. All right, let's go. Um, Fonda says she bit him. Oh, hey, listen, biting is not a bad thing. Yeah, you just got to make sure you bite right. If you're gonna bite right. And there are certain places, Miss Fonda, that we as men never, I repeat, never want you to bite. Feel me, ladies. Feel me. Never, ever do we want to feel teeth in certain areas of our anatomy. Once again, this is G. Hightower, the Entanglement Coach, and I highly approve of this message. Yes, Miss Brenda, I agree with you wholeheartedly. We have got to have a real talk about sex. Absolutely. Too many are afraid to discuss sex openly. It breaks your heart. Listen, it breaks my heart too, Miss Brenda. I can literally, the gift of the prophetic, you can't turn it off. and God allows you to see all kind of stuff. And I can literally look at couples and tell when they're together and they love each other, but they're miserable, married and miserable. That almost sounds oxymoronic to me, married and miserable, because everything about marriage should be joy. And that doesn't mean that we always feel good about everything. That doesn't mean we're always going to be happy with each other. We're not. But everything should be an experience where we're building each other, right? I learned so much about myself as a man in being married, right? Because there's certain things you can't find out about yourself. We can look, stand on the outside and try to be looking in and think you're going to grow, but there's certain things you will never really know until you're in that relationship, and especially once you're married. Okay. So yeah, me too. I agree with you, Miss Brenda. Coach Sheila says, I don't believe in restricting anything in the bedroom as long as you both agree. Get freaky and let the good times roll. I totally agree with you, Sheila. But you do agree with me, Coach Sheila. You do agree with me. No extra people, no animals, and nothing that's going to inflict pain where folks is bleeding or folks have been choked out and they stop breathing. We got to call paramedics and revive a person, resuscitate a person. I know you agree with me there, Coach Sheila. All right. Let's see. Did I miss any questions? Let me scroll back up. Let me scroll back up. Okay, let's see. I think we Vieta asked a great question. If the conversation is good on the phone, but when you meet him, there's no conversation, should you walk away? Wow, great question, Miss Vieta. All right. So these things happen. I've experienced it personally. Um, Great vibe over the phone, and you meet in person. And I literally have had this happen more than once. Um, and I was surprised. So to the person where the other person is not communicating, it makes you feel like, dang, something wrong with me? You feel like maybe they're not really feeling you like that, right? Having conversation later on, found out I was just really nervous or I was just intimidated, by you, da 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 da. And so I've had that happen. And so, boom, you know what? Let's go on a second date, because maybe the second date, you'll feel better, da 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 da. And for us as men, ladies, when you give us a second date, that's huge. Now, ladies, I will say this. Don't go out on the second date if you absolutely are just not attracted to this gentleman and you just weren't feeling it. The energy wasn't there. The connection wasn't there. It just didn't happen. Okay. Don't go on a second date just to be nice. All right. Because when you give us a second date, ladies, it says that we did something right, or at the very least, you are interested in us enough to give us another chance because maybe we fumbled the ball. All right, but you're interested in us enough at least to give us a second chance, right? So, hey, but ladies, stand 10 toes down for yourself as a woman. Stand 10 toes down. If you just weren't feeling it at all, don't do a second date just to be nice. Because that's a subtle way, even though you're being nice, but it's a subtle way of leading him on. He's going to start having expectations, and not in a bad way, but just as a human being. If you give me a second date, I'm thinking that, hey, it must have been okay. Or if I fumbled the ball somewhere, she's at least giving me another chance, which means she's interested. If you're not feeling it, be upfront, be that woman that you are, boom, and just let him know. Hey, it was nice. I thank you. I thank you for honoring me with the opportunity to go out. But I wouldn't be interested in the second date. Boom, and that's it. All right. Hope that helps. Should you walk away? I wouldn't just leave the table, but yeah, not a second date for sure. All right. Oh, Fonda asked a great question. Don't men get bored with their women being naked all the time? Well, Miss Fonda, obviously you're not going to be naked like 24/7, walking around like you're in the Garden of Eden. And if you're asking me and certain men, there is never, ever any boredom with looking at this beautiful gift that God has given me. Never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, never. Baby, if you walking around, listen, now I'll just say this, Fonda. If you walking around naked all the time, I'm thinking, hey, the gift has been unwrapped. So let me go handle that. So if you don't want to be grabbed by your husband, you better put something on. Because if you walk around me naked and you my wife, honey, ministry about to happen. Oh, the game is on. Oh, pause. Hey, hey. It's about to be on. All right, let's see. What else? Let's see. I love this, Miss Sadira. Women should be encouraged to just be free and talk openly with your husband about sexual questions and curiosities. Yes, talk about everything. The, everything. There's no limits. Are you kidding me? We did. We abstained from sex. Prayerfully, we abstain from sex, y'all. We abstain from sex until we're married. Boom, we're married. Talk about everything. No holds barred. It's just us. God said we're one flesh. What are we talking about here? What do you mean you're going to be holding back? What do you mean you're going to feel restricted? No, this is my wife. If I can't talk to my wife, who am I going to talk to about my sexual desires, about things I want to try that I've never tried before? Come on, I'm ready to have some Janet Jackson stuff anytime, any place. Ooh, Shia, I felt the anointing come on me when I said that. Praise God. All right, let's go. Um, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? Yes, absolutely. Never. All right. Oh, great question, Erica. Along those lines, what about sending pictures of body parts, married people? Absolutely. Do it. Absolutely. Are you kidding? Man, that will set you up for some passionate love making that night. Send it in the daytime, especially married couples, especially if y'all had an argument and we left each other's presence on not so good grounds. Send a picture of the body part in the middle of the day, and we have some good, hot, lovely makeup relations that night. Oh, yes, send those pics by all means. Let's see. Um, let's see. Yes, absolutely. Never known a man to get bored seeing his woman naked. Never, ever. Mm-mm. Never, never, never. All right, let's see. Um, listen, I'm gonna help y'all. Listen, I want you to just remember two words when it comes to your husband, ladies, brothers. I want you to remember two words. Remember these two. Keep them at the forefront of your mind. All right. When it comes to your husband and your wife, withholding nothing. Shout out to William McDowell. He was talking about something different. Dr. G is talking about this. Okay. Withholding nothing. If you really believe that it's all right to get your worship on with your husband, with your wife, I want you to just drop two words in the chat: withholding nothing. Shaya, my God. I felt something. I felt it in my shana now when I said that. Withholding nothing. I'm not holding nothing back. You heard me? Listen, I'm going to be playing some flowetry. All you got to do is say yes. My God in heaven. Come on. Yes. Holding nothing back. Let's go. Let's go. Yes. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Withholding nothing. We ain't holding nothing back from each other. No, ma'am. No, sir. Nope, 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 and nope. Come on. All right, y'all. I love you. Miss Lisa said, withholding nothing. Not nothing, nothing, nothing. I love it. Come on, Miss Brenda. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Yes. Come on, Sandra Fabiola. All right, y'all. I love you. This is your brother, Coach G, coming in on this wonderful Sunday night. Hope you've been blessed by the information. I'm going to leave this up only for a little while, then I'm going to take it down. So if you want to check out the replay, go back and check out the replay. All right. Love you. Blessings to you. This is your brother, CEO of Real Love Nation. And those of you that don't know, Real Love Nation is a relationship development, premarital consulting, and divorce recovery firm. I bring you 20 years next month. 20 years of pastoral counseling experience, y'all. So I ain't new to this. I'm real true to this. Passionate about the mission of building healthy love relationships. I'll see y'all later, family. Thanks for tuning in. Blessings on you. And I hope that you, if you haven't yet, I hope that you'll find your purpose partner soon. This is the year of marriage. Let's go. Let's get it. God bless.